Good morning, this is Mark from MLB DFS Weather.com, and this is my first video ever. So you're going to have to, I'll apologize in advance for any technological glitches that we have here. Full MLB slate today, but even with the full slate, there's only a couple trouble areas for the weather. Two of them. Well, before we get into it, I just wanted to show where you can find my forecast. Well, MLBDFSweather.com is my website. On Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturdays, I am powered by Daily Fantasy Cafe. So I put in a link that you can go there. Just click there, and it goes to my report for today, Friday, June 10th. If you just go to Daily Fantasy Cafe, you can go to Forums, Baseball Forum, and my forecast will be in the top right there. But let's get back to the forecast. Here's the main weather setup. We have a stalled front basically across the northern third of the country, dives into the mid-Atlantic, through the Great Lakes, and then back into the plains and the Rockies. The two areas that may have some impacts due to this front are right here in Minneapolis and right here in Chicago as well. Looking at some simulated radars for Minneapolis, looks like we have a line of storms that goes through during the day today. Game doesn't start till about 8 o'clock tonight, and here is the 8 o'clock simulated radar. You can see almost all the activity is off to the southeast, so we're not talking any major issues there. At least we shouldn't be. We are in a warm and humid environment here, so a few things can pop up. We see a few random cells here, but all in all, it shouldn't be that bad. Postponement risk very low, possibly a delay risk, but even that's pretty low. You can see in my report, I have the delay threat for Minnesota at a 15% as they host the Red Sox. Chicago, I don't not have on the forecasting chart today, or at least in the write-up, I mean, because thunderstorms don't look to move in till later tonight. According to the simulated radars, Chicago is free from any rain to about probably till after midnight. So obviously the game should be over by then. And all times are Eastern, by the way. Then the other area that I'm going to be watching is Denver, where Coors Field's going on. We have a few random showers and thunderstorms that are going to form in the Rockies and drift off the Rockies. This is pretty typical weather situation for this region. Showers and thunderstorms form all the time in the mountains and then drift off. As they do, they become weaker, they're disorganized, and oftentimes they don't affect the games at Coors at all, and that's why I have them as pretty low in my watching. Just a 15% chance of some rain with a 10% chance of delay. So really not worried too much there. So despite having a full schedule, we don't have a ton of weather trouble spots to worry about delays and postponements. So let's go into where it would be better for hitters versus pitchers. First off, game is in Tampa Bay. That's a dome stadium. That's a strong pitcher's ballpark. That's why I have the hitter ranking as a 2 and the pitcher is an 8 in the dome. Some other locations that stand out: Coors. Whenever you have a game at Coors, it strongly favors the batters, so that's why I have them a 10 versus a 0. And today it's even more pronounced as there's a wind blowing out, and it's going to be very warm as well. You can find that information in my analysis section here, the game by game. We have temperatures starting off in the mid to upper 80s, and we have a wind blowing out to left center. That's very good for a batter. Target field is going to be very warm, very humid, and I believe, if I remember correctly, yep, the wind is blowing out to left center as well. So as long as they don't have a problem getting this game in, the conditions, the atmospheric conditions will strongly favor the batter. And then we get a couple others. U.S. Cellular, warm and humid there. That favors the batter. Miller Field, there's going to be some showers and thunderstorms that threaten mid-game, so the roof will probably be closed. Miller Field, I found that when the roof is closed, that strongly favors the batter. That's a strong batter's ballpark, so that's why that ranking's that way. And Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, really warm, very humid. Not really any wind to talk of, but that still favors the batter. That's a hitter's ballpark when it's warm and humid, well, basically at all times. The only ones that are pitcher's ballpark, I already mentioned Tropicana. 2 games in California, kind of cool and dry. That always favors the pitchers a little bit, though. humidity levels are higher than normal and normal than I expected in LA, so I put that as a neutral location. In San Francisco, it's cool and dry. There is a very strong wind blowing out the center, but I've done some research that basically the ballpark is meant to mitigate these winds because they're so common because they sit right on the bay, and so water, there's no stopping just a west wind that always blows in there and fairly strong. Gonna assume that the roof is open in Toronto. It could be closed. It's kind of chilly, but it's a close call. While I think the ballparks in Milwaukee, rain threat, Arizona, very hot, and Seattle, a rain threat, are going to be closed. So that's where the NAs come in here. Um, Anything else to talk about? No, not really. I'll just continue to watch Colorado, Chicago, and Minneapolis and see if there's any delay issues. Oh, and then, yeah, I should mention the games in the Northeast. A really cool and dry air mass, abnormally so, has invaded the region for mid-June almost. So games at Yankee Stadium, Nationals Park in DC, PNC Park in Pittsburgh, we'll see abnormally cool and dry conditions. And cool and dry conditions generally favor the pitcher, so that's why you can see I have some hitter densities that are a little bit lower than they normally would. Now, it's not certainly like March or April like cold, but it is chilly as for this time of year. I think that's about it. Please visit me at MLBDFSweather.com and